Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Our webinar today is going to be introducing our new projects menu in RedTeam Flex. So it looks like all of our participants have settled in, and we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Sarah Nyheisel. I'm our Senior Enablement Manager here at RedTeam, and I'm going to be walking you through our webinar today. Again, just kind of showing you that new projects menu experience. Please feel free along the way to go ahead and drop any questions you have in the Q&A feature. I'll get those answered for you either along the way or at the end. Just to be sure everybody's in the right room, I always like to start with a slide that shows you what product we're going over today. The webinar today is covering an update for RedTeam Flex. So if you are a RedTeam Go user, you might be in the wrong room. RedTeam Flex, again, remember, is our kind of flagship platform, our most configurable option. So if you have our RedTeam Flex platform, you're in the right place. Our agenda for today is just going to be to cover our grid experience. We're going to introduce to you this new grid experience that is starting with our projects menu and will extend to many of our other menus. We'll show you how to customize your views within your new projects menu. We'll go over the bids tab and the new and improved WIP tab that also are being updated along with the projects menu. And then we'll finish up with some Q&A time. But again, please feel free to drop those questions in the Q&A along the way. If I can answer them along the way, I certainly will. Now, we're going to be bouncing back and forth a bit today between slides and a live database experience, but I wanted to start with a slide here to just introduce you to our grid experience. This is our newest, most user-friendly interface that we are bringing to all of our platforms. It's eventually going to extend to all of your most important menus and features, but we're starting it with the projects menu here in RedTeam Flex. Now, it may be a little bit familiar to you if you are a user of our submittals alpha testing group and you've already seen our new submittals experience that's coming for Flex, you'll recognize this grid format. If not, this will be your first experience with it. It's bringing a lot of standardization and efficiency to all of our menus here at RedTeam. So this new project menu you'll see today is going to be available for you as of Thursday, March 19th, 2026. And it's going to act as a standard template for how all of our RedTeam menus will operate in the future. It should be more simple, easier to interact with, and much, much more customizable in nature. So it's going to allow you to visualize and review, in this case, all of your project data much more efficiently. So we'll take a look at it in just a moment. But I also want to talk about some of the big values that it's bringing to you, right? What are the major changes you're seeing? And then we'll go take a look at how all of those work in a live database. Really, the best benefit that I can state for this new projects menu, is the ability to customize your views. You have the ability to select which columns matter to you. You can toggle those on and off really, really easily. Of course, you had that capability before, but now it's a little bit easier to access and understand. We can rearrange those columns in orders that matter to us. And most importantly, we can pin essential columns. So we can freeze those on the left-hand side so that we're always seeing things like the project name and project number as we scroll through. You're also going to see the ability to, as we said, rearrange the order of those columns, decide between 3 different density levels, and customize your column width. So you can see exactly what you want to see in the layout that you prefer. You'll be able to sort and filter by any column, and you'll in fact be able to filter by multiple columns to create a custom filter effect. So with all of that being said, I know the best way to understand it is to take a look. Let's hop into a live database and take a look at it. Now, this is one of our QA databases, but this will be live in our production databases, meaning all of your databases, as of the morning of March 19th. That's next Thursday. And what you're going to start seeing is as you navigate to the projects menu, you're going to see this nice blue message up here that's letting you know you can try the new projects menu experience. Now, if you're not feeling ready, you can always hit maybe later if you like the look that you have. But do keep in mind that this opt-in period is going to be roughly 4 weeks or so as we gather feedback and make sure that we are tailoring this to be the best experience we can make it. And at that point, it's going to become the default experience. So you're certainly going to want to hop in as soon as you're ready to give it a try. Once we click try now, we're going to see that new experience load. And I'm actually going to go ahead and collapse our left side menu here. We'll walk through a bit of what we've got. Now, before we walk through all of the buttons and features here, I do want you to note there's your legacy experience option up in the right-hand corner. So for that approximately 4-week duration, you can go ahead and revert to the legacy experience anytime you'd like. If you do, it's going to ask you how you liked it and what we could do to improve. We definitely would like to hear that feedback from you, because if you're reverting to legacy, we assume there's something there that you really like using and maybe you miss it here. Please let us know. Give us a 1 through 5. How do you rate the new experience and what we could improve? We can always hit cancel to stay right here. Now, you can see this is visually pretty different than what we've had in the past, but all the same parts and pieces are here. They've simply been shifted around a little bit. So you'll notice the projects, bids, and work in progress tabs still exist here. They've just been moved from the left-hand side over to the right. And the same with the majority of your buttons. All of those buttons you're used to seeing at the top of a menu have been shifted over to the left-hand side here, with your search bar remaining on the right. So we've got our new projects menu button right here, right? We can go ahead and add new projects just by clicking, just as before. We've got our views. Now, what this used to be was a toggle switch between favorite projects and open projects. Now we've got 3 options: favorites, all projects, which would include closed and canceled projects, and open projects, which would be all active projects excluding closed and canceled. You have the ability to drag and drop these views into a different order if you prefer. You also have the ability to save your own views. We're going to be looking at how you can handle columns, filters, and order and density, all those different customizable pieces. And when you get the view you like, you can simply hit save. You can see I've got a couple of saved views here, and I can click on those to rename, update them, set them as my default, which means I would like to see this view every time I come to the projects menu. That's personal to you. You can set your own default and see this menu exactly the way you prefer it every time you come in. You can also share these views with your team. So if you have a view that is useful to one or more members of your team, you can hit share and share with either everyone in the company or specific individuals. You can search by name or email address to share that view with others. Now, as you do that, they would come in here and be able to see that new shared view right here. As we save our own, it's going to ask us to give a name and a description. And notice you do have the option to set that as your default as well. Now, down in the list view here, we'll talk about some basics. You can see all the standard data we're used to, but we have the ability to kind of stretch and compress each of these columns. We can change column widths, and we can drag and drop to rearrange columns. We have the ability to favorite projects much more easily. Now, this is my favorites view, so let's go here to all projects. And you can see I have the ability to very easily click my star and make a favorite project or remove it. But again, with custom views, you may not need to rely on favorites as often to generate your list of relevant projects. You've also got an action item button here, which is going to allow you to view your project home menu or jump into the project plan room. But I do want to show you the settings option up here to expand that. In fact, I don't have it set to the default right now. If we come up to settings and uncheck this show minimal action menu, this is your default. This is what it's going to look like when you first start trying this new projects menu. You have the home icon right there to jump into your projects menu, and you can jump into the project plan room right from there. However, if you like that more compact view, you can always come up to settings and just toggle on that minimal action menu. Then you'll see the ellipses and just save yourself a little bit of space here. Now, you will notice you can also sort by any column. As you click once on these arrows, you get an ascending sort, then a descending, and now no sort. You've also got a filter for every individual column. Notice the filter option up top is grayed out. It's letting me know there's no filters applied. Once I apply them, I can see them up here. So I could come in and say, I want all projects that start with 102 and apply. Now I see all projects containing that number. We have other options here, starts with, ends with, equals. So all the kind of common filter options you're used to. You can add multiple rules. So I could choose to see multiple different types of projects if I want, or I can remove a rule. I can come over here and filter by my name, perhaps, and see just my projects for this customer, this Harper Enterprises customer. As I filter for various columns and create my custom list, now you can see my filter icon up top is available. I can open this little filters panel, see all the filters that are applied, and I can remove them with the X or clear all to return to a standard view. Now, if I liked this view, again, I could come to my view dropdown and save as a current view, and I could say my Harper Enterprises projects. Other items we have here, we'll go ahead and clear our filters so we can see everything again. Other options we have up here, notice your reports button is here. This is the same as the view icon that you had in the legacy experience. You can access applicable reports on this page. We just made that a little bit easier to understand where to go. And you can export what you're seeing here as a CSV, Excel, or PDF file. That's allowing you to, again, sort, filter, arrange this any way you want, and then export. And then lastly here, you're seeing our density selector. We're going to start with cozy, but you can spread things out to more comfortable, or you can select compact if you like seeing a lot of projects in a small amount of space. Now, regardless of what density level you choose, you will notice that you can scroll all the way to the bottom of any list. There's no more pagination. You're not going to have to flip between pages of 10, 50, or 100 projects here. You're going to be able to see all projects that fit your filters in a single scrollable list. You'll also notice you have the ability to scroll horizontally, whether you're at the bottom of the list or not. That's a major improvement there. It used to be you had to scroll all the way down to the bottom here to find your horizontal scroll bar. You'll notice also, as I'm scrolling, some of my columns are pinned. So let's look at our columns option here. We've got 14 columns turned on right now. We have a hefty number of columns available. You can turn on and off any of these columns. If they're not applicable to you, you can turn them off. You can rearrange them here the same way you could in the grid there. You can go ahead and drag and drop to rearrange, and they're going to rearrange out here as well. You can pin any of these columns by clicking on the pin button. Once it's on, it's going to jump up here to the pin section, and those items will automatically jump to the left-hand side of your grid. But if I wanted to, you can see I can still rearrange these items within the pinned group or unpin them when I'm ready. There's a lot of capability there, again, to customize what you want to see, but that pinning capability is going to allow you to always see those pinned columns as you scroll. Now, there's a lot in here. We are going to go take a look at the bids and the work in progress tabs, but I would certainly encourage you to hop in and try this out as soon as you can. I am going to stop and check here just to make sure we don't have any questions in the Q&A. Not seeing any yet, but please feel free. Drop those in as you have them. I know once you get a chance to play with it, it's easier to come up with those questions. We're going to pop back over to our slides here and just talk a little bit about our bids tab. We did update the bids tab as well to the new grid experience, but there's not a whole lot of functionality change there. It was working well. We did not have a lot of feedback that it needed to alter that much. So really, we've just updated it to that nice new customizable grid experience. You are going to see a few little call outs here. Total project value, or total potential project value in this case, will be at the top of the menu. So you'll see that in a moment, just giving you an idea of how much total potential value is in your pipeline. And we'll also be showing the ability to include potential change orders. So if you prefer to see those potential change orders on your bids tab, you can. And that's just allowing you to track everything that is not yet in progress, right? So the bids tab holds all projects in draft, request, or proposal stage. Now let's go look at that bids tab here. As we click over, We're going to see the same grid format, same buttons. Your view now just has a default and the ability to save current views. So by default, it's showing all of your projects that are in draft request or proposal. You can go ahead and filter or sort as you see fit. Again, customize things like column widths and then save your custom views. You do have actions over here that are allowing you to edit the bid. That button is just going to allow you to get into the scope details and make quick edits to the project details here. You also have the home icon and the plan room access. And as usual, you can click the project name or number to jump in there. Other than that, the only things that are really different from the projects menu is you need to be aware of this ability to show change orders. You can go ahead and toggle that on. If you'd like potential change orders within your active projects to show here as bids to be won. Otherwise, you can turn those off. And in keeping with our kind of standard RedTeam format, if an item is blue in here, you can click on it to get more information. So do notice that your RFQs have the ability to click and get some analytics right there if you need them. And then we're going to go ahead and go back to our last slide here, which is just talking about all the improvements we've made to the WIP tab. So this is probably equally as exciting as the new projects menu, is that we've added a little bit of capability here that's really going to make your WIP much easier to navigate. So not only do we have some new columns, we have moved revenue recognition to its own column rather than nesting it underneath the project name. We're going to have columns for customer company, manager, and market if you're utilizing that field. And then you also have much more filtering capability. You can see here in the screenshot that we've moved our filters of accounting period and through date out so that they're visible all the time. But in addition to those standard filters that you're used to, you can now filter by any column, just like you could on the projects menu we just saw. You'll easily be able to view and close your accounting periods because we've moved that out of the filtered icon. And you'll notice in this screenshot also, there's some gray lettering up there at the top of the list view. You're going to see the total contract value, total revenue value, and total billing values for this set of projects, for this, whatever filtered version of the WIP you're looking at. And then lastly, you've got a new group by market feature. So if you're used to that ability to group by customer or manager, now you're also going to be able to group your projects in the WIP by market if that's applicable to you. So let's go back and take a look at that. We're going to click over to the work in progress tab right here. And we're going to see all of our in progress projects here. You can see you've got quite a few action items here or action buttons. You can still get to that project home menu. You've got several project specific reports, the actual cost report, performance overview, and scope of work. And additionally, you've got that financial overview report that allows you to dive deep into the project financials of a single project. Up here, note you've got your default view. And again, you can save current views. That's allowing you to choose which columns you want to see, those widths, the spacing here, and then save that view so that that can be either your default or just a view that you can return to often. When we look at columns, we've got those additional columns here for revenue recognition, customer and manager and market. We can turn all of those on. We can also pin columns here just as we could. You can see now we've got the ability to scroll over and see all of these pieces of information. We've got sort and filter capability on every column here. So you can drag those out and see those same capabilities. Your same reports that you're used to here, those company level reports that you had under the view icon are still here. We've just relabeled the button reports. You've got your export feature. And then notice up top, we've got 3 items up here as well. So you've got your general view, but this is your grouping. You can group by customer or manager. You can also choose to group by market. Just showing you what that looks like. And each of those are now going to be collapsible. So you've got the ability to collapse groups and see by customer, by manager, or by market. If we need to close an accounting period, it's as simple as looking through our accounting periods, and you're going to see that the oldest open accounting period will say ready to close. We simply select, and then we can close our accounting period from here. And we've also got the through date filter, especially if you're not using accounting periods, you have the through date option to go ahead and see your WIP through a given date. But there's a lot of new added capability here. Like I said, the ability to sort and filter by column really makes a much more custom view of the WIP possible, whereas we used to only be allowed to filter by accounting period and through date. So lots of good new capability here. We really hope a brand new, more efficient and interactive experience for you. Please don't forget to click that opt-in button. When you log in the morning of Thursday, March 19th, you should have this little blue message here allowing you to try it. And you'll have a date in that message telling you when our opt-in period will be over. Once the opt-in period's over, this will be the default. So we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to know how we can make it even better. But thank you so much for coming today. I will go ahead and stay on the line here for a few minutes in case anyone has any questions. I'll check that Q&A. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us and have a good rest of the day.